Section 3, Accentuation 1, the possibilities of accent. There are three kinds of accents that you'll find on a Greek word. There is this, which is called the acute and signals a raise in pitch. There is this, which is called a grave and signals a flat or return to flat. And then there is this, the circumflex. The circumflex is really nothing more than a raise in pitch followed by a return to flat on the same syllable. And you can see that this creature here looks more like the symbol that we have in our book, straight up and straight down when it's connected at the top. The font that I'm using shows it more of a curly thing, but really it's the same thing. It is a raise in pitch followed by a return to flat on the same syllable. So those are the kinds of accents that you'll find. The next thing that you have to think about is syllables. Accents happen on the last three syllables, and these syllables have names. No matter how long your word is, accents are only going to happen on these last three syllables. So those are the only ones that we're worried about. And they are called, the ultima, which is Latin for last, penult, which is short for penultimate or second to last, and antepenult, which is short for antepenultimate or third to last. These syllables can be either long or short. In my notation, these are short syllables. Those are all omicrons, okay? Here's what they would look like if they were long. Omegas, okay? So if I have a word that mixes long and short syllables, I'll write it like this. Okay, that is a short antepenult followed by a long penult followed by a short ultima. All right. Now let's talk about the possibilities of accent if they occur on the antepenult. You have a three-syllable word. There's my antepenult. What is the accent going to be? It is going to be acute, always, okay? If your accent falls on the antepenult, it will be acute. That's the only possibility there. And in order for this to happen, the ultima is the syllable which changes the accent most of the time. If that ultima is for some reason long, this can't happen, okay? You can only have their accent on the antepenult if your ultima is short. There's my three-syllable word, okay? If my penult is short, again, only one thing is going to happen. It's going to be an acute on the penult. If it is long, however, so if I have this scenario, now I have two possibilities. Again, it depends on the ultima. My ultima is short there, right? Okay, if my ultima is short and my accent is on the penult, the accent is a circumflex. Okay, and why is it a circumflex? Here's one thing that I want you to see. A long syllable is really nothing more than two shorts squished together, like that. Okay, so this word is the same as this word, okay? It's got a short syllable followed by a long syllable, which is really just two shorts squished into one, and it ends in a short, okay? So what we have here now is, so the scenario that this describes, if we look at it here, becomes clearer. What we've got is two shorts together, and we know that our accent can only go three back, right? And so here it is. And that's what I've got here. Because remember, every unaccented syllable is either flat or return to flat. So this is return to flat. See that? That is a single syllable with a raise in pitch followed by a return to flat. And that's what we've got here. Okay? So when I have this scenario and my penult becomes long, I can now put a circumflex on it because I've got three shorts together and I can put it that far back. Okay? Only a long syllable can carry a circumflex because a circumflex has to have two accents on it, and in order to have two accents on it, you need two shorts. All right. So what happens then? So let me bracket this so that we can just sort of keep that in mind. That's what's happening here. And we'll move on to another scenario. If I have this, now my penult is long, but my ultima is also long. So how can I rewrite that so that it makes sense? So what I've got now is a short followed by two longs, and those two longs are really two shorts together, okay? Do you see that? Does that make it clearer? All right. So now what I've got, if my accent is on the penult, what kind of accent can it be? Go back here. I've got this many shorts, right? Remember, my accent can only go three back. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so my accent is going to be here. What kind of accent is it going to be if it's three back? It's going to be this. All right? That's where my accent is. And I've got a return to flat here. But remember now, those are I'm splitting that raise in pitch and return to flat between two letters. So I can't make a circumflex that bridges these two letters, right? So instead, I'm just going to write this acute here. And I'm going to put this acute on the penult where it belongs. So that's why the change in the quantity of this syllable from short to long changes the accent on the penult, okay? Because now, here in this scenario, I only had one short in the ultima. One short and another short in the penult, carrying a raise in pitch and a return to flat. Here, I've got three shorts. 1, 2, 3. By the time I get to the second mora, second beat in this long syllable. Okay, so my long ultima changes the accent on the penult from circumflex to acute. Now there's only one more scenario that we've got here. What if it's on the ultima? Let me write that in English. If it's on the ultima, okay, so I've got this scenario here. Where is my accent going to go? What is my accent going to be on the ultima? It can be two things. If it's short, it can be if it's short, it's going to look like that. This essentially means that this word carries no raise in pitch. There's only one scenario in which the Greeks liked to raise the pitch of their words, and that's when they came at a full stop, either a period or a raised period. Okay? If you have a word that is followed by another word, and the accent is on the ultima, that accent is going to be a grave. If you have a word and the accent is on the ultima, and it comes at a full stop, that they change that pitch to an acute. Just because you raise your pitch at the end of a full stop. I don't know why. If, however, you have this scenario, the accent is circumflex. those are the basic possibilities of accent. We'll move on to talk more about accent when we come to section 5. That is the persistent accent. Go ahead and look for that video if you're reviewing rules of accent. Actually, if you're reviewing rules of accent, you might want to look first at the rules for recessive accent, which is section 22. That's actually a little bit simpler than the rules for persistent accent.